Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Amber. For this week's video, I want to utilize my Libby app on getting library books. So I have had a couple books on hold for a couple weeks now, and two of them just got available. And the two that we're going to be reading this week is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez and Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. I don't know if I'll get through more than two books. If we do, I'll just go through and get one of the ones that are already available to borrow, not ones that I had to wait for, but I really wanted to get to Yours Truly. I don't know if I'm gonna read, what is it called? A Part of Your World? I'll put it right here. I know that they're all part of like a series, but you can read them individual if you want. I don't know if I'm gonna read that one, just because I remember reading the synopsis and it just doesn't really sound like something I would typically pick up. But you know, I figured I'd start with Yours Truly, and then I did just buy Just for the Summer, which was her new release, and I keep seeing people rant and rave about it, and I really want to read it, but I do want to read Yours Truly first. So anyway, less rambling, more into talking. I think I'm gonna start with Yours. Do I? I think I'll start with Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, just because I know how I am, and I have a feeling I'm gonna read Yours Truly, and then I'm gonna want to immediately go over to Just for the Summer. I know how I am. Book 1 of 3. I thought there was only gonna be 2 books in this. Also, that Cobalt Libra color has me messed up, man. All I want is just to see things in color now, okay? But like, I don't know. I've seen so many people say they don't have issues with like the screen. Maybe my eyes are just extremely sensitive, or maybe I just would get used to it. But like that screen, every time I tried to read on it, I would get like, I don't know how else to describe it other than like a heat headache. That sounds weird to say, but like the top of my head, I would get like this annoying burning sensation. It wouldn't be like a full-on headache, but it was just this annoying feeling, and it was every single time that I tried to read on that for more than like 30 minutes at a time. And then I'm too far gone on Kindle Unlimited. I went to go return it on Friday, and then I got there and the UPS store was closed due to computer issues, and I was like, maybe I'm supposed to keep it. Why am I like this? Anyway, we're just gonna get to reading. I'm fighting the urge to go pull it back out of the box and try it again. I need to stop doing that because I've done it probably 7 times. I'm not exaggerating. I'm so indecisive. It's genuinely a problem. Why am I like this? Does anybody else do this? Like, is it just me? I'm gonna stop rambling. We're gonna get to reading anyway. Okay, so we're changing. I ended up returning Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies only because it wasn't it. And I will come back to it, but I think I'm gonna come back to it in the fall. I'm just not really in the mood for like that cozy fantasy, and so I just could not get into the book. So that's a softie enough for now. I will come back to that in the fall. So we're switching to the next one that I had in hold that I finally got a hold of, and that's Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I did start this yesterday. I'm on page 62, which is chapter 8. And so far, I am really enjoying this one. I don't think this one's gonna be necessarily like a 5-star, but I'm definitely getting like 4, maybe 4.5, which it's still early. It's only 62 pages out of a 400, so we still have a while to go. Things could change, but so far, I didn't read the synopsis going into this, but so far what I'm gathering is our main character, Brianna, is a doctor at the hospital, and she wants the position, not necessarily like the head of the hospital, but I think head of like the unit that she's in. I want to say they called it like chief, something like that. Anyway, let me look up the synopsis so I'm not giving anything away. Okay, yeah, so Brianna is going through her divorce and it's about to be finalized. Her brother has kidney failure and needs a kidney, but has like a rare blood type, so he's like really far down on the list, and he's only 27 years old, so he's super young. And then Jacob is the new doctor, and she can't stand him because she wants to get this position, and she's the only one that's like up for it. She's been working at this hospital for 10 years, and the guy who's retiring that would replace her puts it on hold for a couple months so that Jacob can have a chance at getting the spot. So she's mad, and it kind of makes them into like rivals. And so she can't stand him, but then he sends her a letter like trying to apologize about everything, and it starts changing things for her. And so this says, it's a really good letter, like the kind that proves that Jacob isn't actually Satan. Worse, he might be this fantastically funny and subversively likable guy who's terrible at first impressions. Because suddenly he and Bree are exchanging letters, sharing lunch dates in her sob closet, and discussing the merits of freakishly tiny horses. But when Jacob decides to give Brianna the best gift imaginable, a kidney for her brother, she wonders just how she can resist this quietly sexy new doctor, especially when he calls in a favor she can't refuse. So far, I'm really, really enjoying it. But I wanted to read Yours Truly before I read Just for the Summer, which we may switch this from being like a reading library books for the week to reading Abby Jimenez romance books for a week. Anyway, back to reading. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot I was even making this video. So I never updated about Yours Truly. So I guess I'll just do that now. But this ended up getting 4.5 stars. It was so close to a 5. It was so close. At one point, I was like 70 or 75% of the way through, I think it was. And I truly thought that I was going to stick with a 5-star for this. I did not think that there was going to be any change in it. And it was like such a small reasoning for dropping it to a 4.5 stars. But there was just like a portion towards the end that I just didn't really care all that much for. And it just kind of, towards the end, made it start feeling a little dragged out. But overall, I loved this book. I loved Jacob. And I really did love our main character, Brianna. She was so funny. There were so many times in this book that it legit had me laughing out loud. I loved the banter. The banter was up there. One of my favorites. Their, like, dynamic worked so good together. I mean, what more can I say? I loved it. The main male character does have anxiety, and I feel like it was portrayed pretty well. I just really liked the way that it was portrayed and written, and the way that like Brianna helps him with that anxiety. I really liked that dynamic, and like, I don't know what word to use. Yeah, just overall, I felt like their chemistry was super believable and just perfectly laid out throughout the whole entire book. I cannot wait to get to Just for the Summer by her, because that so far I've seen has been people's like favorite one of her books, and I liked this one so much that I can only imagine how I'm going to feel about the next one. With that being said though, this whole video started off with me utilizing my local library, but my mood reading has gotten the best of me. We're switching. Can we be surprised that for yet a second or third time, this is changing? Now it's just turning into a weekly reading vlog instead of using my library. And I did end up getting, at the end there was You by Wendy Heiss. I found this from the author's TikTok, and it was, I think, the third book. This is like a series of novellas, so they're all really short, which I'm looking for right now because my mood reading and like my attention span has not been very good lately. And so I'm finding it very hard to sit down when I see a book. I'm finding it very hard to sit down and read it, so this has helped dramatically. But I think it's the third one, but it's called, what is it called? Where the Light No Longer Follows, I think that's what it's called. That's like the third one in this, and that one, I saw the TikTok with like the quotes. It's the love story between the Grim Reaper and the God of Light. So that was enough to like hook me in, but I wanted to read them in their actual order. So I got this one. The synopsis, I'm just going to talk about this one in particularly, I guess. The synopsis is very short and kind of vague, which I like, but also makes it hard for me to describe, because if you have watched my videos, you know that I am horrible at giving a synopsis on a book if it's not pretty much what the author wrote, because I don't know what would be considered a spoiler, and I want to give away as very little as possible. So basically, this one, the God of Death is like mad about something. I don't even remember what it is, but they have decided that in 7 days they're going to spread a plague on the world and end it. And so you're following the main female character is Winter, and she is a priestess. She lives like a very normal, pretty much boring life until a mage, and I honestly don't know his name, comes in, and she becomes like his aide, and they go to the library and they are reading through all these books because the mage wants to stop the god of death from ending the world. And so he's definitely got like that grumpy, moody, everybody's scared of him. You're kind of following like their love story is what I'm getting from this. I mean, it says a love story, so that's not really a spoiler. I really like the characters' dynamic so far. I like our female main character. She's kind of just like off the wall, says whatever she's thinking, and doesn't really think about the repercussions behind what she says. So no filter on her, and I absolutely love it. She's very blunt, to the point, doesn't really care what anybody else thinks. And then we have like our grumpy, moody main male character, and I'm really enjoying their banter. It's a really fun read. Obviously, you're not gonna have a super elaborate like world building, plot, history, nothing like that. It's short, sweet, to the point, and I'm really enjoying it so far. This is not like Kindle Unlimited or anything, but it is only $2.99 on Kindle. So if you're looking for like short romantic-y books, I would recommend picking these up. I am like 45% of the way. I'm 32. Wow, I was getting ahead of myself. But, oh, the main male character's name is Azrael. That's right. How did I forget that? And then in between that, I did decide to start For the Throne by Hannah Winton yesterday. This is the second book in the Wilderwood duology. This is on my monthly TBR, so we are starting right away with picking one. I am only 4 pages in, so I can't really tell you anything that's going on in this book, but I'm going to pretty much binge this today because I think it said I only have like 2 hours left on this book, which I think total will probably take me like 3 hours, but I am kind of a slow reader, so for other people this may only be like 2 hours total to take for reading. There's no page count on this. That's like my only real update. Also, I don't know if anybody else has this like problem, but with my highlighters, I really like to use like a highlighter but have a kind of color matching pen. And what bugged me was like half of these highlighters aren't the actual color of like the outside casing, and there are so many times where I've started highlighting in a book and then I go to underline it with a pen and it's just clashing. Or like I'll put it next to the book and I'm like, that is such a good color combo, and then I actually highlight and I'm like, this is not it. My way of fixing that is I literally took a piece of paper and highlighted that piece of paper and then taped it to the top of the highlighter so that I can easily just look and be like, that color, and then grab my pen. So I mean, if you also struggle like that, this works. Okay, so I just finished At the End There Was You by Wendy Heiss. I loved this book. So at the beginning, I wasn't really sure, like, I was enjoying it. It was a fun read, but I wasn't super invested in it, especially with it being a novella. I mean, you're not getting like that extensive world building or character background or even like character development. Everything kind of happens quick pace. But by the end of this, I love Azrael and Winter's dynamic. The ending, honestly, almost had me in tears. Like, I really felt myself starting to get emotional on this ending. It is just so, I don't really know like another way to say it other than beautiful. Like, I ended up giving this, I'm torn between like 4 and 4.5, which I never really rate short stories very high just because I never really get fully invested in them. If you're looking for like a short little romantasy, I really do recommend these. They are only $2.99 on Kindle. She did such a wonderful job at giving descriptors on not only the characters, but like wherever they were, whatever they were doing. Overall, I just think for being a novella, I still got sucked into this world, the characters. I genuinely cared about what was going on between them. There are two more that focus on, I don't know what the next one focuses on, but I want to read a couple of the little highlights that I did in here because some of them are just so good. This one, it says, one way or another, at some point, you will either condemn the villain, become one, follow one, or live long enough to see them corrupt everyone else. It's the way of life. And then this one, she narrowed her eyes on him. You want to hear me scream and shiver from fear, isn't it? I do, he said, standing and heading towards the upper floor, just not from fear. He says, you'd make any man, God or not, fall on his knees and pray for damnation. And then also, nothing would be holier than to be ruined by you. And the ending, there's like one quote in the ending that he says, but I won't say it because I don't want to ruin it. Oh my God. The ending just had me. Like, it genuinely, truly had me on the verge of tears. So next, I was gonna read For the Throne, and I'm still gonna read that very shortly, but Leather and Lark by Bryn Weaver came today, and we all know that I've been waiting for this for what seems like forever. So I'm starting this one today, and no one's changing my mind. So the first one is Butcher and Blackbird, and that one you're following two serial killers who kill serial killers, and it's like their love story. This one is, I'm not gonna lie, for how much that I enjoyed that book, I honestly forgot what the two main characters' names were in the last one, but this one is that main character's brother. I just don't remember what their names are, and that feels really bad because I did really love that story, but names just never stick with me. No matter how much I love a book, I'm gonna have to reread it multiple times for those names to stick in my head. This one, you're following Lachlan Kane, who is a contract killer, and he ends up botching a job for his boss's biggest client. And then it says, he knows he'll never claw his way out of the underworld, at least not until Songbird Lark Montague offers him a deal. Hunt down a killer and she'll secure his freedom. The catch, he has to marry her, and they can't stand each other. And then it says, indie singer-songwriter Lark is a sunshine that burns through the darkness Lachlan Kane tries to hide behind. Lachlan might think Lark is just a privileged princess, but the truth is that she keeps plenty of secrets. With her formidable family in a tailspin and her best friend's happiness on the line, Lark's willing to make a vow to the man she's determined to hate, no matter how tempting the broody assassin might be. As Lachlan and Lark navigate the mission that binds them together, it becomes impossible to discern their fake marriage from a real one. But the restless ghosts left in their wake are only a few steps behind, ready to claim more than just their newfound love. There's another phantom lurking on their doorstep, and this one has come for blood. Okay, so I wanted to do like a little bit of an update because it is like a week now since I started this video. I don't know, we're at like 7 or 8 days now since I've started this video, and I've been enjoying Leather and Lark, but I feel like I'm in a reading slump. I don't know what it is, but I'm having the hardest time just wanting to pick the book up. So I did end up taking a break from the physical book, and I did end up getting it on my Kindle, just because I thought if I switched to my Kindle, I would feel like I was going through it quicker, which would kind of like motivate me to really start reading. And that just hasn't really been the case. I've gotten more done reading on this than I would have with my paperback. I don't know what it is, but like every time I tried reading in the paperback, the font is like small, but it's not terribly small, but the font is like small enough to where it was bothering me. So then I got it on my Kindle, and I've managed to get to 60%. It's not that the book's bad, like I'm enjoying it. I'm not enjoying it as much as Butcher and Blackbird. Like I'm at 60% of the way through, and there still has been like nothing that's happened between the two main characters, which I like. I like the slow burn, and it's kind of kept me on edge. Like that's the main aspect that's made me want to keep picking this book up, because I'm like, okay, I need to get to the point where like they start getting together, like being a thing. I do like the banter between them. I do like getting more of Lark's like backstory, because that was something that I was curious from Butcher and Blackbird. You got like a very, very small crumb that left so many questions unanswered, and this is definitely answering a lot of those. There's still, I'm hoping you get a little bit more info. I mean, they gave you like the vague thing. I'm gonna try and finish this, because ideally I just wanted this video to be only a week long, but I am currently in my reading slump, which isn't fun. Okay, so I wanted to give my final update on Leather and Lark. I am sick, so this ended up taking me longer than I planned on it. But overall, I am gonna give this, I think, 4 stars. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as Butcher and Blackbird. This one, in my opinion, I think is a lot more mild than Butcher and Blackbird. So if that was too over the top for you, I think this one's better. I really like Lachlan and Lark together. It was definitely a slow burn. It took a long time for them to really even get together. I loved their banter. My biggest thing is like, it was odd, because there is like a side character in the first one that you get very minimal information on him, and I felt like it was a weird resolve for that in this one. I wasn't like a huge fan of like the way that whole situation was executed. Yeah, it just felt weird and not really, I don't know, it just felt weird. I wish that there was a little bit more like mystery behind it, or a little bit more like background behind that character in here, because you like understand why they're doing what they're doing, but like I just wish that there was more details of like what's gone on in their life to get them to this point. I don't know, that's gonna sound so vague. I don't know how to describe this without like ruining anything that happens. It was just weird. I know that this is like a rom-com, but like I really felt like I just wasn't super invested in these two the way I was with the first one. I'm interested to see the next one. I know is about, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Fionn? I don't know how to say his name. Don't come at me about that pronunciation. I'm definitely like looking forward to seeing his and Rose's book, and I'm hoping that we get a lot more background on Rose, because I really like her character. She's super like off the wall, funny, just an out there character, and I really like her character, so I'm looking forward to getting more about her in the next one. But yeah, overall I liked the book. I like Brynne Weaver's writing. I just didn't really feel super invested in Lachlan and Lark's whole entire relationship. It could just be because I'm sick, and so I'm just not like grasping certain things and like absorbing the information very well, which the first one came out of left field, because like I wasn't going into that book knowing like the surface level of what I did about it. I wasn't expecting to like that book at all, and I ended up loving it. So I still recommend, if you liked the first one, I would still recommend reading this one. I just personally didn't really care for it as much. Yeah, that's like my final update. This video took so much longer than I planned on it taking. I just hit like a massive reading slump with this one. I just could not find myself the want to like pick this up. I kept finding myself like picking it up, reading a couple pages, putting it down, and picking my phone up instead. And so it took me forever to get through this, but I feel like I'm kind of starting to slowly get out of my reading slump, so we'll see where that ends up going. But that is all I have for you for this reading vlog. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all my future videos, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!